Hey guys, welcome back to another Spy Family Sunday. Today I am here to review chapter 113 of Spy Family. This was a great chapter. A lot of life lessons can come from this chapter. It was also hilarious. So yeah, if you're enjoying the content here, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. So this chapter starts off with focus on Damian, Ewan, and Emil. And Damian is sort of waving his arms around, and Ewan is sort of asking him like what he's doing. We gotta get to our next class. And then we see a panel of Anya, Prince Boy, and Freddie. Tertius is asking Anya, hey, during our next break, would you like to come back to my country with me? And Freddie's inviting her to go bowling. And he's saying that it's on a route where there's a bunch of kids, so they could potentially invite more people. Anya's looking proud of herself, and, Damian just is at a loss for words. He can hardly believe what he's seeing. And he's telling himself, he's like, I'm not jealous of anyone. Becky oversees all of this, and of course, she has to tease Damian. And so she's putting all of this stuff into his ear, talking about, oh, she's gonna go bowling with all these people into foreign lands. Like, what do you think about that? And then we just flash into this ridiculous, daydream, and Freddie and Prince Boy are they look like a panel out of, old school shoujo manga. Everybody's drawn really feminine and attractive, and, Anya's like, oh, what should I do with these feelings? Every time I think of them, my heart races. And of course we know this is Becky's fantasy. It's funny because Anya's like, you know what, I think I want to be a princess to this guy. And she's like, what? Becky's like, what about Damian? And she's like, who's that? Don't know him. And so she's boarding this boat, and she's marrying him and leaving. And meanwhile, Damian's just looking horrified. And to further, push the nail into the coffin, she's telling him this is gonna happen one day. And so we flash to that evening, and we get these panels of Damian fighting bugs. He has a sword, he has a shield, he's just fighting a bunch of them, and then eventually he comes up to face this huge bug monster thing. And so he continues to fight it, he thinks he's defeated it, and the bug is like, haha, that was only an after image. And then he wakes up and he's frazzled, and he goes downstairs to, sit on the couch. Ewan and Emil are like, hey, don't run away from us, we're your friends if there's something that's bothering you that you want to talk about. And so then Damian goes on this long sort of spiel about, how he wants to, help my friend, and all this stuff. And so they're like, maybe we should go to the library to see if we can, research it. And Damian doesn't really explain the entire situation. He just sort of leaves off on I really just want to help my friend through this tough situation. And so they go down to the library, and Emil and Ewan are flabbergasted because they're like, wait a minute, are we not Damian's only friends? Who is this person that he's talking about? And so they're really worried about that. And so the next day, Ewan and Emil are continuing with their research to help this mystery friend of Damian. And Ewan looks a little bit upset. He's like, what's the point of doing this? I mean, if Damian has other friends, if we're not the main focus in his heart, then, why should we do this for some random person? Emil is like, don't say things like that. We have to help him get through these tough problems. And Ewan suggests that they go find an adult to help them with what's going on. And so they leave the library, and they go to that military looking dude that has the eye patch, and he has the scar on his face. I don't know what his name is. I'm not sure if that was ever revealed. And so they go to him for advice on, the feelings that they're feeling about Damian, and trying to help Damian help this other friend, and they don't really know what these feelings are. Military guy is like, it's called jealousy. It's a normal human emotion. And so they're talking about it in a really complicated way. The military guy is like, oh, it's a paradigm shift, and the kids are like, what the heck does that even mean? But the analogy that he gives for jealousy is really cool. So he's like, imagine jealousy as a pestering bug that you run into in the wild. You don't want to rush into a fight with it. You want to acknowledge that it's there and then decide what you want to do. There's a video game sort of analogy where it's you can fight, you can run, you can look at it, you can pet it. So there's tons of different ways to deal with jealousy. He basically just tells them that jealousy is a real emotion. It matters in terms of how you choose to deal with it. And so even even Ewan and Emil have to acknowledge like jealousy. Like Damian has to acknowledge that he's jealous. Ewan and Emil have to acknowledge that they're jealous of this friend that Damian is not telling them about, because in their eyes they're his only friends, and like how dare there be this other person like taking attention away from them. And so Ewan and Emil eventually meet up with Damian, and they explain everything that the military guy said, and that we're jealous and how to deal with jealousy. Emil is like, he also said something about rare people who possess this powerful like paradise fist, but it's obviously it was a paradigm shift, and but the kids heard it as a paradise fist. And so, you know, Damian's sort of thinking about all of this, and Ewan is like, this troubled friend must be very dear to you. And, you know, Damian's like, oh no, like it's just my brother's cousin's friend, you know, that he goes on to say, like, you guys are my only true friends. And Ewan and Emil just like, their faces light up, and it's so cute. Now they're put at ease knowing that like, you guys are my homies, you're my friends, like, you know, you're not going anywhere. Damian has another dream that night where he's facing his version of jealousy, this giant bug, and he's wearing he's wearing this ridiculous costume thing on his arm, his paradise fist. The bug is like, do you really think you can defeat me with that? And Damian's like, sure, whatever, I wore this in order to shake your hand. The bug is like, you think that you can make peace with me? And Damian's like, I know I can, for I am Cyan Boy from the House of Desmond, and this war needs to be stopped. And so we get this beautiful panel of like Damian shaking hands with this monster, symbolizing like he's maturing. He's like, I'm at peace with what is going on with Anya. It's like, I am jealous that she has other friends, but I also need to be at peace with my own feelings about it, which is awesome considering these kids are what, 6? So he's at peace with it now. And I mean, for now, like, let's see what happens. We know how Damian sort of like pops off at the handle. And so he comes to school the next day, and he's wearing, I guess he made a paper mache version of his paradise fist, and he's wearing it on his arm. Becky is getting out of her car because she's just arrived to school, and she's like, what is that on your arm? And Ewan and Emil are also sort of curious about like what this is, you know, and he just goes on to explain, yeah, it's my paradise fist. And Becky's like, has he just gone insane? And she's like, if you really want to be popular with girls, like, this is not it. And he's like, nobody asked you. Anya is rolling up with Tertius and Freddy. Of course, Tertius is like, oh, behold, Anya, a feather from my homeland's native bird. And Anya's like, I'm like, whatever, dude, I'm kind of sleepy. And she immediately sees this thing on Damian's arm, and she like runs over, and she's like, whoa, this is really cool. Like, what is it? Is it super powerful? And Damian is obviously flattered. He's not gonna humble himself to say that he's like, it's invincible. And so all the kids are sort of chatting, and Mr. Henderson comes over, and he's like, Mr. Desmond, like, whatever is that absurd accessory on your arm? He's like, you better take it off before you get to my class, or you're gonna get a tinnitus bolt. The military guy, I guess, meets up with Mr. Henderson in the teacher's lounge, and they're sort of talking, and Mr. Henderson is like, the behavior of students these days is just a little bizarre. And the military dude is like, yeah, some of your students came to me for advice, life advice. Mr. Henderson looks like completely disheveled. He's like, they overlooked me as their housemaster? So I mean, like, I guess he was expecting them to come to him for like life advice. And that's how the chapter ends. It was a really cute chapter. Lessons to be learned from everybody, from Damian to Emil. Life lessons to be learned by everybody, at least from the boys' perspectives. I don't know when this is gonna hit for Anya and Becky, because Anya, you know, she already considers Damian her friend, so there's no jealousy to be had. Damian is still coming to terms with the fact that he wants Anya's attention. He wants to be friends with her. He's just struggling to actually, you know, just let it be. Based on the dream he had, I mean, I feel like he is coming around. He is at peace with like, hey, this is a girl that maybe I like her, maybe I just want to be friends with her, but like, at least he is acknowledging the fact that he likes her enough to be jealous that she's making other friends, and that he still wants her attention despite them not being in a lot of classes together. So yeah, it was a cute chapter. I'm loving the character development for all the kids. It's really cute. I'm not sure what's going to happen next chapter. I don't know if Indo is just setting up a school arc for the kids, or if maybe next chapter will move into something else. But this was a nice conclusion to introducing us to new kids and to a new semester. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and until next time, remember to be awesome and stay true.